WandaVision just ended, and I absolutely love it. For me, I think it's one of the best things that the MCU has ever done and might ever do. And I have a lot to say about why I love WandaVision. You know, Wanda and Vision before this show, for me, were characters that had a lot of intriguing aspects to them, but ones that weren't dissected enough or dived into enough. But after this show, what more can I say? They're two of the most intriguing characters that we've ever gotten in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think they'll continue to be. There's something new with Disney Plus that they are able to explore characters more, give them a deeper background, and really much explore everything that you can possibly get. Because when it comes to Wanda herself, after the events of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, she lost everything. She has nothing. She gets no rewards or no compensation for anything that had happened. And we see how she grieved her brother and the love of her life, Vision, the person who was there for her at all times, that we see in WandaVision. Those flashbacks truly show how much pain and anger and hope she has inside of her. The things that truly brings WandaVision to life. What these two characters now mean to me and what the show has done for them is something more than I think any of the MCU has done. Tackling grief, hope, optimism, regret, and change. And things that I think the MCU has tried to tackle before, but now with getting over 4 hours of content with these characters, there's so much more to dissect in. And what this means for the world of the MCU, what it means for the world of Phase 4, and the fact that we're just going to continue to get more Disney Plus series makes me so excited. What's going on? My name is Zach, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be going into why I love WandaVision. And if you guys love WandaVision, or in general you disagree with me, let's make sure to comment down below and let me know your guys' thoughts overall on the entire show. Of course, spoilers if you haven't seen the show yet. Let me know down below your guys' thoughts. Hit that like and subscribe button. But let's get back to the video essay. Why do I love WandaVision? Well, it starts with Wanda and Vision themselves. You know, the one quote that I think a lot of us will be quoting throughout the years now is, "What is grief if not love preserving?" This one moment in particular, episode 8 in particular, hit me into such a whole nother way, because throughout the entire show, you know, we see that there's grieving elements. We see that there are a lot of moments with Wanda and in general how she is tackling this world. And then of course, as the world starts to open up a little bit more to Vision and more memories and in general more content comes into him, where he starts understanding that this isn't the world that Wanda just created. She is imprisoning people to her own will so she can get that happy ending that she thinks she deserves. And I think she does too. She almost took out Thanos single-handedly, guys. Can we not remember that? We need to remember that. One quote in general, and in general, episode 8, I think, culminates all of what WandaVision is about, is that it is about Wanda Maximoff's grief, her forgiveness, her hope, her optimism, everything pretty much being ripped away from her. And again, Elizabeth Olsen completely and utterly destroying and stealing every single scene. Whether it's from just the classic sitcoms that they are absolutely, completely enwrapping themselves around and bringing to life in such a new fashion that I truly didn't think they were going to be able to pull off, but they did it in spades. And, you know, we can talk about the production design, the realistic approach to all those, and how they really much brought me back to a nostalgic flavor. But what all those mean to Wanda adds even more, because again, this is her story nonetheless. And even though Vision has been very philosophical, Paul Bettany kills this role, playing off into the sitcom realm, but also when it needs to get dark, it gets dark. And, you know, there is a horror vibe pretty much through this. There's a little bit of a Twilight Zone aspect to this entire show, as we see, whether it's in episode 9 when White Vision is crushing her head, or even flashing forward to the first episode ever when Wanda and Mr. Hart is choking on his food in Vision, and the whole entire scenario gets a little bit intense. It's elements like that that really add certain layers. And if that's just the beginning of what we're going to get for Wanda's next chapter in her life, God, count me in. This is very much not just, you know, we've seen her origin story now as who she is, how she got her powers, or more amplified, because now we know that she was born with these. But what it does is it adds to her character in another realm. You know, we can take this to two different ways, and we don't know exactly which direction she's being going to. Is this the origin story of a villain? Or is this the origin story for Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch? Will she control her powers, or will she be the villain in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness? We will find out eventually. when that film comes out, March 25th next year. Hopefully it lands because that's my birthday, so I'm really excited for that. But culminating all that together and bringing it to life is something that I was really empowered by. And then, of course, seeing White Vision survive opens up the ideal that Vision has to find out who he is for this world. His mind and his memories are back, but does he feel any of that? Does he feel the same stuff that Wanda does? There's so many things that in there that she creates this brand new world for herself, but in the end, she loses out on everything once again. Everything that she gained over the last couple of weeks throughout the Westview is completely lost by the end of this series. She loses her kids. She loses her version of Vision that she loves and created from the part of the Soul Stone that is attached to her. And now, yes, we do have a new version of Vision out in the world, but we don't know what's up with that one. We don't know where that one will go. Will it come back? Wanda's an interesting character, and one that I think I liked beforehand, but now every single piece, every single scene that we have with her before WandaVision is now amplified. Age of Ultron, I care more about her. Civil War, I care more about her and Vision, their relationship. And something that I love seeing about Vision, and it's something that I really learned about this, is that he's trying, even though he's not human, he's trying to learn to be human so he can understand more of Wanda. They are both the outsiders to this team, and in general, now when you look at everything, and everything that means to them, every single scene and moment means so much more. Infinity War, that scene of them, and like the beginning parts of it where it's just them two. You know, I always felt like those were some of the slower moments of it all, but now it feels perfectly placed inside. I want to run through some of the other characters that we did get in here, because we did get the origin story for Monica as well, who I absolutely loved, and I cannot wait to see what they do with Captain Marvel 2 with her. What she does is, this actress brings about such a sensation to the character, charismatic values that really much shine into such a whole new light that I didn't expect to love. And then taking on characters like Darcy and Jimmy, who, you know, I like the actors and actresses playing these roles, but I've never really loved the characters. I adore them now. Coming over to our nosy neighbor Agnes, or Agatha Harkness, which we all knew. If you're comic book fans, you see the pendant, you see all the little twists and turns. It was obviously going to be Harkness, and I think that what they did with her was very interesting. I'm glad they kept her alive overall, because I think Catherine Hahn is an imposable foe, but one that is really much trapped inside the area she never wanted to be in. She just did that so she could get close to Wanda herself. And, you know, while I love all of WandaVision, there's one thing that I didn't like, and I think I need to pick it out and point it right here, is, of course, Evan Peters as Quicksilver. Now, when he came into the scene, I screamed. I was so excited, just as many of you guys were. The 2 episodes with him very much being some of the main central focus were the 2 episodes that did the best on my channel for views. And I didn't think it worked overall, the reveal at the end, because I love when he shows up. It blew me away. Maybe opens up the multiverse again. That's us theorizing. And I have a lot of theories, and WandaVision definitely taught me to never pretty much theorize ever again, because the last time I did this much was about Last Jedi, and none of those came true, and for here, none of them really came true either. But the one thing I was pretty sure on was, like, this gotta be the X-Men with Quicksilver. She took him from a different dimension, something of that nature, because, I mean, why wouldn't they? If it's not gonna be Mephisto or someone else, or in general, something, in general, it wasn't. It was just boner. They made a boner joke out of this. Now, that's, again, something that I just felt disappointed by. I think that's the one element that I think they could have made better, and intersected in here to a little bit better. Now, I understand being meta like they were throughout the entire sitcom era, but I feel like, why not just get Aaron Taylor Johnson back? Maybe he didn't want to do it, but maybe just get a different actor. I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking from that point, but that was one of the big reveals that actually felt a little not fulfilling for me. Speaking about those theories, watching the show week to week with every single person, I think brought about a new sensation. People wanted to binge the show, but for me, I don't think it would have been to the same effect that it did for everything. That feeling of theorizing every week with your friends, your family, people on the internet, and discussing and reading theories. And while, yes, none of those came true pretty much, it was still fun. It was still fun to have that interaction, you know, sit around and have an event every single week. I can only hope that we're going to get the same thing with The Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, and other Disney Plus shows coming down the way, because when it comes to Marvel and Star Wars, these are giant events for us geeks. And now that the general public loves these as well, you know, 10 years ago, this wasn't the same thing. You talked about loving Iron Man, you talked about loving Scarlet Witch or the X-Men, you were looked at as a nerd. Nowadays, being a nerd and a geek is cool. And I love that to death, and I love how we got to really sit down and really dive into all the details and really much enjoy the theories and the discussions of watching week to week. This stayed in the conversation. If it was just binged, we would have talked about it in 1 week and been done. Shows from Netflix. I love it. The emotions in each episode and how different they were, how this was one of the most unique things that the MCU has ever done. And if this is the future of Phase 4 and TV for Marvel, then count me all in. The fact that I get to learn more and more about each and every character in such a more substantial way. The fact that I'm going to be able to know more about Falcon and Winter Soldier next is just superb, because at the top, they're mostly just surface level characters when it comes to the MCU in general. Maybe some bigger moments here and there, but nothing that really dives in. And I expect by the end of that show that they're going to be some of the most fleshed out characters we have gotten yet. And I mean that, even over the likes of Bruce Banner, Clint Barton, which again, we're getting a Hawkeye show, so that's going to be awesome. When you get time to take with these characters, you can get a lot more than when you have to really focus in on a movie and focus in on the pinpoints. It's harder to develop these characters, and they're only developed because you get so much time with them over so many movies. With these shows, we're going to be able to touch on side characters that maybe have never touched on before. And the prospects of that make me love WandaVision so much more, and in general, what they are doing. That's where we're going to go next. The end credit scene takes us to Monica and hinting at Captain Marvel 2 with her new powers with the Skrull. And Wanda in a cabin, looking like Sokovia of some nature, reading through the book that she took from Agatha, and hearing her kids scream adds to the flares that she's trying to learn and gain and understand her powers a little bit more. She's stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme himself, which he didn't show up. I was surprised by. That's another theory that I think all of us were guessing. But, you know, she's going to be a major part in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Where will that go? Is she playing around with the multiverse to save her children? We will find out in there. But again, those end credits set up great things. Still keeping us on edge is, who is Wanda? To some people, she's a villain. To others, she's a grief-ridden person who completely lost everything. And at one point in time, I think we can all relate to her. They made Wanda one of the most relatable characters in the MCU. And again, going back to that, what is grief if not love preserving? I love Wanda. I love Vision. They're two of the most developed characters now in the entire MCU. Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen both should be nominated for Emmys by the end of the show. Like, if they are not nominated for any awards, I'll be utterly pissed and shocked. This is where we go next. This is why I loved WandaVision. I loved it because of the character development we got, the expansions to the Phase 4, the opening of Phase 4, and how different this was to the MCU. The sitcom stuff worked so well, it added humor and flair to it all, but at the same time having a darker, horrific tone that brought me back to the sensation of the Twilight Zone. It was smartly witty and written, and yes, while the action at the end, you know, typical MCU action, we knew that was coming. And even though none of our theories came true, the thing that I got out of this was something that I never expected. To care and love for two characters that before I had liked. I thought they were badass, but nothing more than that. I care so much more about these characters. And again, 9 episodes of this, and each episode ranging from 25 to 45 minutes without the credits to Please Stand By, the worst villain of it all. I'm so excited to see where they take these characters next. I'm so excited to see where they take the MCU next. And this is why I love WandaVision. You know, I have my nitpicks, but I still overall like it. That's why I'm going to give WandaVision an A. Thank you guys again so much for clicking on this. You guys are seriously all the best. Let me know down below your guys' overall thoughts on WandaVision. What were your guys' thoughts? Were you disappointed by anything? Did you think it was lacking anything? Or were you disappointed that your theories didn't come true? Or did you love it just like me? Let's discuss it all down there. How excited are you for Falcon and the Winter Soldier? If you guys are excited for that, I will be doing episode reviews the second those debut, the second those come out. Because yeah, I love doing this. I love staying up past midnight and watching this with all of you guys because it's some of my favorite things ever. So thank you so much, guys, again for clicking on this. I really can't infuse and express enough all the love that you guys have really come along for the journey, and I can't wait to continue this journey with you guys. So, of course, until next time, stay classy.